Okay, there we go. So, sorry, I'm literally technologically challenged. It's fine. So, what I was saying is that I'm super excited. I'm coming on here as a Go campaign ambassador, change maker, and I wanted to kind of let you guys have the gist of things. I just said this before, so if I'm repeating myself, sorry. But Go partners with local heroes to improve the lives of orphans and children around the world. And it basically lets people find their passion and get involved. So that's what I'm super excited about. That's also why I'm on here today. We're going to talk about, we're talking to a lovely guy named Ben Hall. I'm going to get him on here in a second, and he'll explain everything that he does. But I also have a little sheet of facts so that you guys know what this is all about. We're going to do a little, fundraiser. 100% of it goes towards their grant making. So literally any dollar counts, like even a cent, whatever. Yeah, or if you just want to tune in and just listen in and hear some cool stuff. Okay, hold on. I have to request. Hold on. Let me. Gosh, guys, I'm just literally. Send invite. Okay, there we go. If I can do this. Okay, I'm sending the request now. Oh my gosh, we already have 2 donations. This is crazy. Okay, I just sent the request. I'm gonna wait for him to join. But in the meantime, so this is their 15-year anniversary. Again, I have this little sheet so that I can not mess this up. And yeah, so they've supported 172 local heroes, which is really exciting. Seeing if they can open. I sent the request. I don't know if you can hear me, Ben, but I can send it again. And it's funded 464 projects focused on education, vocational training, health, orphan care, enrichment programs, which is really awesome. Improved lives of over 178,000 kids across 37 countries. So I have a heart for kids, and I'm excited. Oh my gosh, we already have 7 donations. It says Go campaign is unable to join. Sorry, guys. Stick with me, please be patient. Okay, hold on. Okay, I just sent you another request. Oh my gosh, 8 donations. Guys, this is crazy. I just sent another request. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Let me see. Maybe if you request me, hold on. If you request me, then maybe I can do it. I requested. I'll request again. Weird. It says it's unable to join. I wonder what? Give me a second, guys. Sorry. Any technologically savvy people out there? Do you know why it might be saying I can't? I sent the request again. Okay, Pamela Ellis just said, Go campaign, if you rejoin, it'll have the option to request to join the live. So if you leave and then come back in. And I sent a request. Oh, sorry. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't. Uh-oh. Maybe you're connected to Bluetooth or something. I can't hear. No? This is great. Okay, hold on. Okay. Yeah, but during the past year, they have granted more than $700,000 in funding to ensure that vulnerable children are safe around the world, especially during, this crazy time and COVID and everything. I know I can't hear him either. It's okay. We're gonna figure it out. Uh-oh. Wi-Fi's being wonky. I still can't hear you. Try to exit out of the live and then come back in again. And if you're on Wi-Fi, you might need to get off of it might be the Wi-Fi. You might need to go on like 5G or something, I think. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. Hello. This is a Celsius. It's great. Okay. Okay, I just sent, wow, we already have 9 donations. This is really cool. Internet stuff. Oh, this is going amazing. Oh, yeah, guys, it's fine. This is my luck. Okay, let's see. Gotta love some technical difficulties. Okay, I just sent a request. Hold on. I think it's his Wi-Fi. Okay, I just sent a request again. Okay.
Yes, I think we got it.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
It's loading a
Okay.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo.
Okay,
Oh my
hi.
goodness. Hi.
It's so wonderful to meet you.
Thank you for stalling and being so graceful in that moment where for last 12 minutes now my heart has been racing, feeling like I'm leaving you hanging. So
No, you're good. It's the internet. It's fine. I have
well, no,
issues
can
with
I
that.
can I tell you the whole old man story that I was trying to
Yeah.
do? I was trying to join from my laptop because I'm so
Oh,
used to doing all of my work online on my laptop.
Zoom.
And thankfully, the folks at Go Campaign, I was able to reach them. They said, "Hey, you got to get on the app on
Oh,
your
okay.
phone." So, and then the app didn't have access to my microphone, which is why I was muted. But you know what?
Okay. There you
Thank you
go.
again. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, everyone. Yes, sorry for it looked like you had so many people on here who were ready, and but there are still so many people. Oh my goodness! So
Yes, I know. It's awesome. We already have 13 donations, which is kind of crazy. It's
oh,
like,
thank you everyone for who
yeah,
is donating, and thank you Abby for creating this space and giving your time and your voice and your platform to the work that Go Campaign is doing.
of course.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Likewise.
Okay, so I want to know everything that you do. I just want to pick your brain. I want to know what made you want to get involved in what you're doing. But I guess for starters, can you explain to everyone what exactly you are doing with, Go Campaign and what you're doing in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I feel like such a lucky person. I get to work with a hero, my hero and inspiration. Her name is Marianne Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs an organization called Clean Slate LA, among other things. She does so much in South LA and Watts. And her organization, Clean Slate LA, was built upon helping folks remove tattoos that no longer serve them in their lives. She herself was a former gang member, formerly incarcerated. It came out of her own story of needing and wanting to remove the markings, not even necessarily for her, but because of the way society saw her with those tattoos and how it was it was just another layer of discrimination that she experienced as a Latina woman from South LA with tattoos, that she wanted to find a way for folks to be able to get those tattoos removed, have access. So that's what Clean Slate LA was built upon. But Marianne is also a counselor. She's a therapist. She's a healer at heart, and she has a passion in particular for working with children. And so she has continually expanded, built off of what she's been able to do within her community in removing tattoos, that then created the possibility of other aspects of Clean Slate LA. And I am part of the mental health counseling community, counseling wing of Clean Slate LA. And where Go Campaign comes in is, Marianne glows about how wonderful Go Campaign is in terms of they came to her because they recognize that she's someone from the community, on the ground in the community, who is already creating solutions, who already has so much strength and resiliency in who she is and the relationships that she's built and the way she sees things and her vision for the future. And so rather than Go Campaign being the kind of nonprofit organization that comes into a community or a population of people and says, here's what you need, and we're going to fix you or help you or be the heroes. No, what they do is they find folks who are already on the ground living it, and they're looking for the strengths that are already and the resources that are already in the community, and then supporting and lifting up those agencies. And so Marianne's agency, Clean Slate, is one of these agencies that's being lifted up. And I am one of the lucky people who gets to be part of her mental health team. And we work with kids in South LA and Watts, kids and families, using an explicitly anti-racist social justice approach, strength-based, and creative arts sort of approach integrated into mental health. The idea that kids just need space to tap into what is already beautiful and creative and magical inside of them, and they can create their own healing and create possibilities for the future. So that's a little bit of what I do. We work with kids and families in South LA, and it's a free nonprofit offering that's happening.
That's amazing. Can you tell me what exactly, I guess, how these kids and families can get involved, and what exactly you offer in the mental health area, and what kind of, I guess, therapy that you use, or I guess education systems? I mean, I guess the details of it. I'm curious because I think that's amazing. I'm
Yeah,
very interested
absolutely.
in this kind of.
Well, thank you. So one cool thing that Go Campaign has actually created is not only are they funding Marianne, but they created a coalition of organizations in Watts that are already in Watts, and it's called the Hands Across Watts Initiative. And so now we cover the mental health side, but there's an organization in the Nickerson Gardens housing project called Watts Community Core, and then another project at Avalon Carver Community Center. So again, these a whole bunch of people who are already on the ground doing the work, creating resources in the community, led by people from the community. So these are already sort of community hubs that kids and families come to. Avalon Carver works, there's kids and families who are in a homeless shelter associated with Avalon Carver, and they have access to our services. Because they're associated with Avalon Carver, they have access to our mental health services. Then in the Nickerson Gardens Housing Project, because they're associated with Watts Community Core, they have access to our services. So it's kind of like we're working with partners who are already providing services, and that's the way that the kids get linked to us. What's so cool about what Avalon Carver and Watts Community Core are doing is that they're providing kids with a space, a safe space, especially in the middle of COVID, where all of the COVID protocols were being covered. They were providing laptops and tablets and Wi-Fi and breakfast and lunches. Basically, so kids were, in the Nickerson Garden Housing Project, their parents were able to walk them to the community center there, and their kids were able to be online in school, being cared for by community members, being fed, and having access to Wi-Fi and the school supplies and the and the devices that they needed to be able to do their schoolwork. Because in a lot of families that are dealing with poverty, Wi-Fi is not a given, or certainly not reliable Wi-Fi, or having the devices, or if there's multiple people in the home trying to work or get schoolwork done, there may not be space. And so the fact, and of course the food thing is just such a huge aspect, because so many families really depend upon the food programs at schools. I think one thing that COVID hopefully shows us is how valuable schools are and how amazing teachers are, but all the services that schools provide beyond just educating our children. There's the mental health, and there's the nurses and all those parts. So in some ways, it's almost like we're trying to, in the absence of school in these communities, especially when so many of the parents are in jobs that are essential workers, and they're putting themselves at risk, and they may not be able to work from home, or so the fact that they can have access to school and devices and internet at these community centers that are in place. And then the recognition where we come in is, and this has all been so stressful and devastating on us, and has had the greatest impact, of course, on the communities that are least funded and marginalized already. So being able to support kids and families and parents as they're enduring the stress of losing family members to COVID, and or having their lives flipped upside down by losing their job or losing their homes, or all the different things that we've witnessed. Again, this coalition that is being supported by a Go campaign, we're all working together to meet these different needs that are all arising, that were already there, but that are just accentuated during COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you, is how also with, mental health, I feel like, it is so, mental health services are so hard to access, I feel like, and they are so expensive, and especially, for people that can't really afford it, it's like, it should be, I feel like, a right. And, I was reading about Clean Slate, and you guys offer it at very low price, and all of the donations go to that. So if I'm correct, right? Or a lot of the donations will go to, so that is, that's amazing and so wonderful, especially in this time. And that's what I was going to ask you, is like, which you probably already answered, but how COVID has impacted a lot of these families and a lot of these, children, and what you've seen, especially in their, maybe, has there been a decline in mental health? Has there been a lot more stressors? Have you seen a lot more, I guess, issues in that area arise, especially having to do it now remotely and not have the communal sense, because we thrive off of community, and having the physical interactions. I mean, what have you seen with children in that area?
Yeah, thank you. I'm struck, and I noticed I've moved a few different points on some of what you're sharing there and bringing up. So thank you for your perspective and your thoughtfulness in relation to all of this. I mean, my heart, the first thing that feels important to COVID has also highlighted our resiliency as human beings. And of course, families that have a lot, that are dealing with a lot, are inherently amazingly resilient, and communities that are dealing with poverty and systemic racism and injustice, and inequity, are extraordinarily resilient. And so I'd say the first thing that has become even also accentuated or amplified is the resiliency, and resourcefulness and power and beauty and healing that is alive in these families and communities. And strangely enough, as you talk about access to mental health, in some ways, one of the things that we do is we provide groups for parents who have been separated from their kids through the Department of Child and Family Services and Family Court. And we recognize that the mental health system, we're part of this system that is built in, that oftentimes has great intentions to be on the lookout for the welfare of children, but then ends up oftentimes separating families and taking kids away from their parents, from their families. And of course, like almost everything else in our society, in disproportionate measure, African American and Latino and Native American families are disproportionately affected by the policies of separating kids from their families, which again is in the name of safety, but oftentimes perpetuates experiences of attachment trauma. And so one of the things we get to do is the court oftentimes mandates to parents, you have to go to anger management, domestic violence, parenting classes, these types of things, in order to even have a chance to see your children again, right? And so, and oftentimes it's 52 weeks. You have to do this for a year before you can come back before us and prove to us that you deserve to see your children again. And so, and of course that has a huge impact on the kids.
Right.
And so one of the things we offer are these groups, and we offer where parents can meet the court mandates, and we offer these groups for free, because most of the time people are having to pay $20 a session or more when they're, and taking time off of work and doing all of these things, trying to navigate this system that has white supremacy built into it. And so we're able to offer this for free because of the funding that we get. But also, oddly enough, like COVID has helped a lot of folks access these groups, because we can have bigger groups because we don't need the physical space. And a lot of times folks are take their lunch break at work and join the group to make sure that they're one day closer to being reunited with their kids. Folks are on their drive home, but on their commute home, but they're in the group and they're in their headphones and they're, so that's been a strange
It's more
thing.
accessible in a way. It's become
right.
more.
There's this amazing thing because I do somatic work oriented around the body, and I use music and movement in the work that I do. That's my passion. And I thought that trying to do that over the phone was going to be impossible. And like you said, the warmth and the presence of really being able to feel connected with
Body
another human
language,
being.
energy,
It,
yeah.
yes. So, I thought we were going to lose so much of that. And yes, I can't wait till we can all be in the room together. And
Right.
we've got a yoga class that we offer, and drum circles, and these types of things that when we're actually physically together, like, are have this energy that is palpable. And also, I don't think we're going to drop the Zoom meetings, because it creates another level of access, and that it also
Right.
makes it more, one of the problems in terms of accessibility and mental health being so expensive is that it's also can be challenging to make a living as a therapist, especially in community mental health, where these, except for organizations like Go Campaign and Clean Slate LA, it's hard to get paid, or paid well, to work with the folks who need support as well. And so the fact that I've been able to work from home, from the privilege of my own home, and still be able to be active in that community and be of service and part of a team that is providing access to these resources for free. In some ways, COVID has helped us get our game together to maybe bridge some of these access issues. So that's a hopeful side of things.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that because my mind went straight to, I guess, how are the kids doing? How are they feeling at home? And, not able to go have that, yeah, like what we were saying, the communal feel. But that's very interesting because, I mean, I guess I was ignorant to that. I didn't think that I didn't think about the easier, I don't know, it's easier to access help
Yeah,
online.
you
And it's
know,
a click of a button, as opposed to having to take time out of your day and, uh, yeah, and figure out transportation and figure out, take time off of work. I think that's very interesting. Huh.
yeah,
Did,
absolutely. Well, it's both. There's pros. Obviously, there's been a lot
right.
to overcome, but I wanted to
Finding the
highlight
silver
that.
lining for sure is, yeah,
Yes.
there definitely are things, yeah, you can find positive things, I feel like, out of anything, which goes back to your point of the resilience. It's a very beautiful point. So I do want to ask you I guess, what drove you to become passionate about this topic, and if you have any personal anecdotes, or if you have anything that, you know, um, a turning point for you where you're like, I need to do this with my life. I mean, I'd love to hear that, and I'm sure a lot of other people would as well. Also, we're at 19 donations. I think that's really
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you, everyone who's donating.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's
Seriously.
it is literally goes directly to supporting kids, having a space to deal with, because absolutely, um, we've all it's been stressful for all of us to be cooped up inside of our houses, but children especially
Mhm.
need outlets, need spaces, and with me they get to dance and drum and go wild and be crazy. So thankfully it's not another Zoom half hour or hour where they're just being talked to about stuff. And another part of our Hands Across Watts initiative that Go Campaign funds is a boxing program, and so that they run at Watts Community Core. So the kids are on their computers, and then during recess they go and they punch punching bags, and then after school they've got, and it's this empowering, and they incorporate that with music. Um, so yes, the need to move. And so I guess circling back to your question about me personally, um, a few different things. In my own family history, there's mental illness, there's substance use issues, there's domestic violence and child abuse. trauma that, you know, that has affected us all and affected certain members of our family more than others. And I'm the youngest of six in my family, and so I think there was a part of me that could feel maybe some of the pain that my family had been through, and wishing that I could heal them, save them in some ways.
Right.
And I have a brother in particular who deals with mental illness and has endured a lot, and I can't save him or help him and heal him. But I've learned a lot about being able to love him from afar, and I've been frustrated by even our family, with all the privilege and resources that we have, how all the stigmas around mental health have created access issues, generational issues in relation to my parents being open to it or not. Therapy is a bad thing. Exactly.
It means there's something wrong with you. It means that you're,
Yeah. So I was struck by, like you said, how hard it was for us as a family to get our brother the help and support that he needed. So all of these things sort of were planting the seed in me of like, there's an area where maybe I could be of service. But what has always been my experience of healing and transformation has been through music and dancing. Like getting onto a dance floor and like just losing myself and starting to tap into exactly what my body needs and starting to move in that way and connect with my emotions. And now suddenly I'll leave a dance floor sweaty and transformed and healed. And so I got curious, in particular after I lost both my parents and my wife's father in a short period of time, around 10 years ago, and was dealing with a lot of grief. And I wondered how I could deal with my own mental health issues that were arising and the grief that I was dealing with at that time, and use music to heal myself. And then once I was doing that, then I got interested in how I could potentially help create spaces and relationships where we could do this work with other folks. And then in particular, in relation to the social justice work, I had a wonderful professor at UCLA. His name was Peter Sellers. He is a opera director and social activist, and his class is called Art as a Moral Action, or Art as a Social Action. So he always planted the seed in me that like, it's not about art for art's sake, it's about art for the community and providing spaces and voices for folks who aren't being heard or felt. And then again, getting to meet Marianne while I was training as a young therapist. And her trusting me and taking a chance on me, a white boy from Santa Monica, and saying, well, you have a lot to learn, and if you're willing to be uncomfortable and be wrong and make mistakes and take accountability and repair, and then come ride with me. And she gave me a chance, and it really it's changed everything for me, from the idea of therapy of being, which is a very Eurocentric idea of like Freud, two people like sitting in a room very rigidly, right. Tell me about your mother or whatever,
laying on the thing.
Exactly.
It all started when I was
exactly. Yeah. So now we're tapping into the drums, and we are tapping into resources that we've used as human beings for thousands of years, I believe, to find connection and to find healing and to deal with what hurts and to find the beauty in it.
I love that. I mean, I say this all the time. It's like there's so many different forms of therapy. There's so many different forms of healing. There's so many, and it's just finding what does resonate with you. And I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think it's the most important thing you could ever do in your life, and just to tap into what you are feeling, good or bad, or and just be self-reflective. I think that is the most, I believe, important thing in life. And I do think, and that's why I'm so impressed by what you do, I think it does start with children, and I think it does start with our youth and getting them comfortable in their emotions and in their trauma, in whatever is going on, and understanding it and putting words to it. I feel like hasn't necessarily been done in the past, and I I mean, I'm very impressed by what you're doing and your passion for it. So, I mean, yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of experiences with, mental health in my life, and friends that have passed away from suicide because of past traumas and stuff that weren't ever dealt with because they didn't have the adequate resources. And I feel like if if we work hard enough to just get it out there and to just at least just talk and to destigmatize it all, I feel like that's the first step, and we are on to greater things, But I love that is something that you are doing and that you are a part of, and that's something I hope to be a part of too one day. I mean, when we can all go back to, normalcy. But
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We would love to have you down in the center in Watts. We do at different points we do food giveaways or supply giveaways, and that's a time when a lot of the folks who are supporting us the way that you are able to come and join in and meet some of the families and meet us in person, or of course any way that you wanted to be involved would be such a blessing. And I want to acknowledge your courage in bringing this topic and to the forefront and sharing about your own experience. I think it people in positions, you've cultivated a voice for yourself through your work, and now you're using that voice to help lift that stigma and shame, and lift and create more possibilities. Who knows, the people who may be listening to this or any of the things that you say or that you share, that you might be opening a door, planting a seed that, okay, it's okay for me to be hurting, and it's okay for me to go look for someone to talk to about it.
right.
Um,
And to just self-reflect and figure out why you do the things you do, why you react the way that you react, or why you choose the relationships that you choose. It all does, it it makes sense when you do talk about it, when you have someone to talk to about it. But I guess accessibility is the number one thing, and that's I think what is also the hardest thing, because we don't always have the right resources or um, yeah, adequate access to those resources. So and it's also, I mean, it's a scary thing to talk about. It's terrifying because of the stigma around it right now. But to lift the stigma, you have to talk, and it has to take someone to talk. So,
yes.
and I love that it is starting I mean, what you're doing, starting with children who don't necessarily have easy access to it. But not only are you giving them access, but you're starting young, and you're healing young. And I think that is also a very, very important thing, and a special thing as well. And I definitely have a lot of learning to do. I mean, that's also why I'm, you know, picking your brain and asking all about it, because I definitely, you know, I even, again, like what you said, like with my privilege, I have had I've had different resources, and I've been able to, and I don't know, and that's also, it's an important thing to be willing to learn, and to also be willing to, exactly what you said, fall flat on your face or fail, but get back up and learn, and be willing to soak in new information, and hear different people's stories and gain from or learn from that. But so I guess what I do want to ask is, I guess while we are all still stuck at home, and I mean, I know just as I've been for a very long time wanting to do something to help, what can people do to get involved or to help in what you're doing and what Go Campaign is doing as well?
Yeah. Well, obviously the kind of awareness that you're modeling, I mean, the kind of the use of whatever platform that people do have to spread the word goes a long way. So any ability for folks that are learning about Clean Slate LA or Go Campaign to spread the word means a lot, and the donations mean a lot because of these accessibility and resource issues. I mean, in so many ways, right? It's like doing the work ourselves goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, taking care of ourselves then allows us to be, you know, being really gentle and compassionate with ourselves, increases our capacity to hopefully be of service to others as well.
100%. Yeah.
Let's see, I had a few thoughts that were coming up
Yeah,
for me.
please.
Yeah.
And if there's anything else, I mean, throw it out there. I mean, yeah, if there's stuff that you want to talk about, stuff that you want to let viewers know.
Yeah, I mean, I think in particular in the social justice aspect of mental health.
Sorry, it's ringing.
Oh, no problem. You know, I think what Marianne is and Clean Slate and Hands Across Watts and Go Campaign are all a part of here is sorry. Yeah.
So it'll stop.
Okay. And then I'm gonna switch headphones too because I saw it running out.
Message. It's all done. I don't want everyone to hear this message. I don't know if it's actually a message. I don't know.
You have a landline? Oh, I dig that old school style with the landline.
I know. I'm in Florida with my family, so yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Sorry. Continue.
All right,
if you want to start
back.
over. Okay. Social justice aspect of it.
Yes. So Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles are part of a coalition that have proposed in LA what's being called the People's Budget LA. And it's oriented around a reimagining of public health. You know, the term that I feel like was grasped last summer was the idea of defund the police, which is this same idea, but reimagining of public health is a different way to talk about the exact same process that we're discussing. And so when people are supporting Go Campaign and Marianne and Clean Slate and the work that we're doing, they're supporting this movement towards the reimagining of community health and public health. Because again, some of these, the idea is when there's a domestic dispute happening within the home, or when there's a mental health issue, or like you're saying, when someone is coping with trauma and their body is biologically reacting in a fight or flight mode, and they're dealing with the trauma in their body, it's I think in our society, the first judgment that is made by dominant white culture is, oh, there's an angry or a sick or a bad person of color and behaving in the way that we stereotype or whatever. And okay, now they need to face the consequences and interact with the police, which of course could be deadly, or is going to then set into motion these patterns that end up separating families and dividing families and causing the generational cycles. So how could it be that when a person is in need, a person is wounded and they need support, or a family is going through a tough time, and what if it, rather than the police who are not necessarily trained in mental health to be able to point out from a space of empathy and listening and help someone's nervous system in those moments when someone is dysregulated and in a fight or flight mode. Actually, what we need is to feel held and cared for, so that we can calm our bodies down and then make a decision. Then the executive functioning of the brain comes back online, and I can actually make a decision that isn't destructive for myself and my family for the rest of my life.
Right.
But if folks who are the picture of the generational oppression that I've experienced, and now I'm sorry, obviously that I have not experienced, but I'm speaking from often I'm using the words of my clients, so let me be wary of doing that. That folks have experienced, and they're showing up with guns, and they're showing up armed. I'm gonna stay in fight or flight mode, and I'm gonna run away or do whatever my body tells me to do in that moment to survive.
Right.
And so the idea is, how do we shift so that that's not a police person's responsibility to come in the middle of a mental health crisis, and that we have more resources built into communities, coming from the communities themselves, that are providing these mental health resources and supporting these families and individuals in need, and they're getting their needs met in a way that are responding to crises, and then also preventing, creating more support and resources in the first place. So I think folks can support Black Lives Matter LA and can support the People's Budget LA, and that and also if anyone on here is a white person wondering how to get involved in these types of things in Los Angeles, well, the nationwide organization is called Standing Up for Racial Justice, SURJ, Surge, and the LA chapter of that group is called White People for Black Lives. And there's multiple meetings per week and action points and things and emails that go out that tell you how you can be active in supporting Black Lives Matter LA and the People's Budget LA, that are all oriented around immediate and long-term strategies around shifting resources from traditionally oppressive systems into community empowered healing. And eventually, so the idea is that there doesn't have to be any white people from Santa Monica going in and providing mental health in Watts, because the community is already tapping into all of the resources that are there and supporting itself. That's the long-term goal. And so I think any of those actions where if that's something that resonates with people, the idea that what people in need could use is loving support rather than a repetition of systems that end up dividing and oftentimes causing more harm. Those are just a couple of the organizations that I'm aware of, but I'm sure folks have lots of other ideas. But I think getting active in those areas, if this is something that folks are interested in, is I think one thing that comes to mind right away.
And it's called Surge. You said one of them is Surge.
Yeah, that's nationwide.
Okay.
SURJ, Standing Up for Racial Justice, SURJ. So wherever you are in the country, or maybe in the world, you can look up what local chapters are around. And, because one of the things that Standing Up for Racial Justice talks about is like, how do we as white people get our skin in the game? Until it's as urgent and desperate and life or death for us as it feels for my colleagues and clients from South LA and people of color in these communities. Like, we're not going to have the coalition that's going to be able to shift and change until we get our skin in the game. And so that's also the question of like, how do we? I'm comfortable here in my house and with my family and with my resources. And of course we need to take care of ourselves. But
and you can talk about it all day long, but
exactly.
when are you going to take action, and how do you,
Yes.
in the best way possible? I mean, that's what I want to know as well. Like, I, sit here and talk, but yes, is it bringing awareness? Is it? Of course it is. I hope. But again, I mean, my biggest thing is doing, what you're saying, like taking action and actually doing the work or doing whatever you can and whatever is asked of you, you know, and taking the time to ask the questions and try to learn, I think is very important because at least, yeah, having an
Yeah.
open mind. Yeah.
And I think I learned a lot, um, um, from Marianne in relation to also the potential damage of like trying to be a hero, a white savior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think again, the kind of approach that Go Campaign has, um, and that I feel fortunate to get um, to to live out in my work is that like I am not a hero in any way. I'm just a lucky person who gets to be a part of a team that is doing good work. And my job is not to save anybody or make any miracles happen. My job is to show up every day and to listen and to bring my heart into the space
And
and
please.
be vulnerable and fall to pieces and then and pick it back up again. And there's a gentleman named Ken Hardy in the mental health community, African American leader in mental health. He talks about we need thick-skinned white people in terms of it's almost like the flip of what of white fragility. It's like how can I stay in conversations that feel uncomfortable for me without making it about me, without getting all hurt and then centering my own emotions, which of course we're all, I feel like in our culture generationally we carry shame too, in relation to the obvious racism and injustice in our country and in our country's history. And so it's not, it doesn't, this whole situation isn't serving white folks either. We're all dealing with it on a mental health soul level.
Mm.
Um, and so, but our jobs right now are, you know, not necessarily to, I feel like my job is in a lot of situations is to come in and to listen. Um, and to then figure out how I can use my privilege and power. Like I'm at this point in my career, I'm a licensed therapist, and there's a lot of situations where our clients need a letter to a judge, and or a phone call to their parole officer, and for whatever reason, sometimes my white name and my white voice and the letters behind my name that say what degrees I have and what licenses I have are a little way that I can use my privilege in order to support, you know, kids being reunited with their parents, you know, and just trying to figure out how I can use the privileges and resources that I have to support folks who are already doing the work in their communities, who are the ones who know what needs to be done.
Yeah. To continue to listen and to learn and to, that's interesting.
Yeah, find people who are already doing the work and then
Which
figure
is
out
what
how.
I love about Go
Yeah,
Campaign. I love that
exactly.
they, you know, it's they're taking it. I mean, when I sat down and met with them, you know, I love that one, there's so many different things that you can get involved in because I originally sat down and I was like, I have so many different interests. I have so many things that I'm passionate about. Like, I don't just have one, you know, specific area. And so for so long, I didn't know which way to go and what to, you know, do. So I was sitting down with them. They're like, well, also what we do is we take a step back. We kind of take the back seat and we let these organizations, these local heroes do their thing. And we are there to support. And I think that that is so wonderful and so amazing because, I mean, what you were saying as well, they like people who are in the midst of it know it the best. And I think it is also the greatest act of humility as well to sit back and to say, I don't know. How can I help you? You know, what can I do? What can you inform me on that I just genuinely didn't know? Please tell me and I will be this, I will support you in however way I can. And I think that that is also in life. I feel like that's how we should be. And when it comes to mental health, when it comes to social injustice, and yeah, all of a lot, like everything. I do, and I love that that's what Go campaign is doing. So, and also what you're doing clearly as well, from what you've been saying, and being a listener and being a I guess someone there to help in any way you can.
Yeah, I that great professor at UCLA also used to talk about how do I show up with, like, from my wounded place, that it's okay, and it's also part of the humility of, like, okay, we're all human beings and we're all like,
We've all been broken. We've all been.
yeah,
We have our stuff, and I think that
yeah,
that's also. I always say, I'm like, if I always want to live my life in empathy, and I think it's the best thing that you like, always trying to live in empathy, and also to be able to access empathy, you first have to feel what you are feeling. You have to
yes,
know what pain feels like. You have to know what and everyone has felt pain, just some people push it away and some people don't want to deal with it. And that's also why I'm a huge advocate for mental health awareness, and for therapy, and just for getting rid of the stigma. Is when you start actually doing the self-reflection, when you start digging into the stuff that is just you don't want to talk about, you don't want to deal with,
oh,
that's your first step to healing.
excuse
And
me.
then you there.
Yeah, yeah. So you talked about self-reflection.
But
I
I
got
feel like
nervous. I
that's
ran away. I didn't want to look at my own stuff.
throw his phone.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the first step in healing. And then once you, I guess, are able to access those and deal with them and accept them, and accept yourself for what you've been through and what you've seen and what you are still dealing with and still trying to heal from, then you can go listen to other people's stories with a clear mind and a clear heart, and allow other people to pull at your heartstrings, because you don't have your strings all bundled up anymore, and
Hmm.
like they're getting organized now. They're still there,
Yeah.
they still hurt, but they're organized, and you're able to understand them and see them, and then other people are able to pull at them, and you're able to then connect with them. And I feel like that, just, I know that's like kind of a other side topic, but
Oh,
that
no, you
sorry.
are right. I'm just so grateful, like, your awareness around this and your ability to use your voice in relation to that. I think because it's right, mental health or therapy doesn't have to be this huge. First of all, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or that you need to be trying to fix, or it can be, it's just this simple space where, again, like you said, I can just hopefully increase my awareness and hopefully even have some curiosity and some empathy and some loving sweetness towards myself around what's really going on. And
Yeah.
then once I have more awareness, then maybe I can begin to accept myself and accept what's going on. And then once I've accepted it, now things get a little bit softer, and now they can maybe move or maybe even be alchemized, and that pain can become passion and power that leads us to take action or to change. I read a beautiful quote from James Baldwin last night that is exactly what you're saying, which is that he wrote that not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed if it is not faced, or nothing can be changed until it is faced. We spend a lot of time running away from our pain or our fear or our insecurities or our wounds for good reason, because it's scary to deal with. And when we can turn around and hear the messages, and like you said, the silver lining, the gold in the muck, the lotus flower blooming out of the muck. you
Mm-hmm.
know um, there's a lot of there's just a lot of beauty and power of having increased self-compassion and self-awareness, and doing that on our own is a revolutionary act, and you
Right.
speaking to it and using your platform means a lot, so thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I really am honored to speak with you and to really be able to hear your, experiences and perspective and expertise in all of this. And it really is just like a answered prayer, dream come true for me to be able to like sit and just talk about these important topics and causes and just things in life. So thank you, truly. I genuinely appreciate it. It's
It's
my
really a
favorite
pleasure.
conversation.
And I'm sorry to leave you waiting at the beginning. That was a total nightmare.
No, you're fine. You're
But
fine.
good thing we have both of us have therapy, because in that moment I was like, oh, all right, let me practice my skills because I'm freaking out.
Breathe
All right, let
in
me
and out. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Count. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Mhm. Yeah,
No, yeah, no, it was all good. I don't think it was
yeah.
too bad.
And here we are with 23 donations, which means
Yes.
the world.
$304.86. This is
Hey,
awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And all the best to you. I'm sure when everything is, the world is healed and things are getting back to normal, I, I would love to come and just even be an observer if that's something that could be possible. And
absolutely.
yeah,
So
amazing.
awesome. Well, thank you, and thank you for your support of Go Campaign. And it was a real pleasure and joy to get to meet you and to have this conversation with you. And yeah, I'm excited to see all the other conversations that you have from here, and follow the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. All
All
right.
right.
I
Take
will.
care. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you for your
Bye,
donations.
guys. Thanks for tuning in. How do Okay. All right. So that was amazing. Wow. Oh, so yeah, we have 23 donations. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in to this long conversation, which I thrive off of. I love some talking. So yeah, that is the gist of Go Campaign and what Ben is doing over there at Clean Slate. And yeah, if you guys want to continue to donate, go to gocampaign.org and you can go donate there if you want. Every dollar counts, even if it's just a cent. Yeah, 100% of donations go to their grant making. So I love you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. And this meant a lot to me. I'm going to save this and I'm going to put it on my feed so you guys can watch it. And I might try to figure out how to put the thing in my bio. But, okay. All right. Goodbye. Thank you guys.